Welcome back to the lesson. We are going to answer the second question. Boardroom Dynamics, August 2022, question 2. In our last session, we answered the case study. Question 2A reads, assess 5 factors to consider when recruiting board members, 5 marks. Factors to consider when recruiting board members. Factors to consider when recruiting board members is a direct question, simple question, this one. The first factor to consider is the expertise and skills. When you are recruiting members or any employee, it's important to consider their expertise and skills. Because anytime someone is being recruited, the person is being recruited to perform certain jobs or work and to carry out certain function, then skills are required, expertise may be required. More so for board members, these are high-level employees of a company, and high-level expertise and skills may be required to fulfill their functions as board members. So it's important to evaluate the expertise and skills that the board currently lacks or needs to complement existing members. Before recruiting, it's important for the board to check if there are any gaps or if there are needs, so that when recruiting, the new members can complement the existing shareholders. So it's important to look for candidates with relevant industry knowledge, with the financial acumen, with the legal expertise, with the leadership experience, and so on, because that is what is required of a board member. An effective board member is one who possesses relevant industry knowledge, is one who possesses financial acumen, leadership experience, and so on. So when recruiting board members, consider expertise and skills. Another point to consider, number 2, is diversity. Board diversity. When recruiting board members, aim for diversity. Aim for diversity in terms of gender, ethnicity, age, background, and so on. Don't just hire old board members who are advanced in age. Have a mix of members in terms of age. Have the young ones, the middle age. You can have a mix of the experience or senior members of the society, and so on. Have a mix, diversity in age, diversity in ethnicity, diversity in background, and so on. Diversity is a factor to consider when recruiting board members. 3, independence. Independence. Consider the need for independent directors who have to provide objectivity, who have to provide what we call objective oversight, who may be required to challenge management decisions. You understand? Independence. When hiring board members, look at the independence of the people who are being hired. Independence brings in objectivity. Then another factor to consider is that one related to alignment with group strategy. Alignment with the strategy of the company. Alignment with company, not group, but company strategy. This has to be considered, the company strategy. Ensure that potential board members align with the company strategic goals and the long-term vision. The ones who are being hired or recruited should be committed to advancing the organization's objectives, and that should be tested when carrying out interviews of the board members. Will the new members align with the company's vision? There are many factors, including the culture fit. Consider the culture fit. Cultural fit. Even board dynamics. Consider board dynamics and board dynamics. When recruiting new board members, consider the cultural fit and board dynamics. Assess how potential board members will fit into the existing board dynamics and company culture. Look for individuals who can work collaboratively with others and contribute positively to discussions, who can contribute positively to discussions. So there are many factors. I've only listed 5 factors to consider when recruiting board members. 1, consider expertise and skills. 2, consider diversity. 3, independence. 4, does the potential board members, will they support company strategy and vision? Then cultural fit and board dynamics. These are 5 factors, 5 marks. 5 factors, 5 marks. Part B, examine 5 principles of group dynamics. Principles of group dynamics. B, principles of this group dynamics. Principles of group dynamics. What are the principles of group and group dynamics? The first principle is norms. Norms. Roles and norms. Number 1, roles and norms. Roles and norms. Roles and norms. Group dynamics involves the establishment of roles, norms that guide members' behavior within the group. So there ought to be clear roles and agreed upon norms that help create a structured and functional environment. You cannot have a functioning group that has no rules, that has no norms. You cannot have an effective group that members do not know their roles. So the first principle of group dynamics is to establish clear roles and norms that will guide the members' behavior within the group. Because if there are no roles and if there are no norms, then that will cause chaos. That is a recipe for chaos. Where there are no roles, members do not have roles, members do not know the rules, then that will be recipe for chaos. So one principle of dynamics is to have roles and norms. The second principle is communication. 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 Effective communication is crucial for group dynamics. There ought to be open, honest, and respectful communication that fosters understanding and cooperation among the group members. Communication is a very important principle if you are to hold a group together. Cohesion. Number 3, cohesion. Cohesion. From the word cohesion. 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 Group cohesion refers to the degree of unity. It refers to the degree of bonding among the members So high cohesion leads to stronger group identity and cooperation. Cohesion, unity is a principle of group dynamics. 4, conflict resolution. Conflict resolution. Group dynamics includes the ability to handle conflicts constructively, because when you bring people together from different backgrounds, from different cultures, then conflict is inevitable. So it's important to have a conflict resolution mechanism in place. And group dynamics, I've said, is ability include the ability to handle conflicts constructively, because conflicts will always arise, even if there are clear roles and norms. There is always room or chance that people will conflict. So resolving conflicts in a positive manner promotes trust and healthy working environment. So conflict resolution is a principle of group dynamics. 5, decision making. Decision making. Group dynamics influence the decision-making process within the group. And the group's decision-making approach, such as majority vote, such as expert decision, can impact outcomes. So the group must have an approach to making decisions. It could be majority vote, it could be a way of consensus, or even a mix. Depending on the decision that is to be made, the members should agree on the approach when making decisions. That's a very important principle of group dynamics. There has to be an approach on how decisions are made. Okay, because that can impact outcomes. So these are 5 principles of group dynamics. 5 principles of group dynamics. Number 1, roles and norms. Number 2, communication. Number 3, unity. Number 4, conflict resolution. Number 5, decision making. 5 roles, 5 marks. Answered part B of question 2. Part C says, determine 5 factors a board may consider establishing the board size. Factors a board may consider. Factors a board may consider. Factors a board may consider while establishing the board size. The board size refers to the number of members, the head count of members who sit on a board. What are the factors that should be considered when establishing the board size, the size of the board? The first obvious factor is the company size. Company size and complexity. The size of the company and its complexity of operations may influence the optimal board size. So larger and more complex companies often have larger boards to handle governance responsibilities effectively. So if you have a company that has that is small and the operations are not complex, then the board size will be small. But if it is large with complex operations, then you are likely to have many board members sitting on that board. So one factor to consider is the company size, the size of the company and the complexity of the company's operations. Number 2, industry norms. industry norms, the norms of the industry within which the company operates. So industry-specific norms and standards may guide the board size. So it's important to understand what is common and appropriate within the industry, because that can help determine the right board size. Number 3. The third factor is to consider while establishing board size is diversity and skill requirement. Diversity and skill requirement. When establishing a board size, it's important to consider the need for diverse skills and expertise on the board to address the company's challenges and strategic priorities. In point number 1, we stated that another factor is to consider complexity of the company's operations. So if the operations of the company are complex, then it's important to consider the skill requirement to address the complexity of operations of the company. So consider the need for diverse skills. If a company is large, is diverse, with the complex operations, different skills may be required to help the company meet its objectives. The company may need diverse skills at the board level. So if it is large, then if the skill sets are diverse, then the company will have a large board size. If the operations are not complex, then the skill requirements will not be as much as those of a complex organization. So a larger board may accommodate a broader range of skills, but a smaller board will accommodate a narrow range of skills. That is point number 3. Point number 4, the factor to consider is efficiency and decision making. Efficiency and decision making. Consider efficiency and decision making. A larger board may lead to slower decision making. If the board has many members, then the process of making decisions may be slow, which may lead to reduced efficiency. So evaluating the board's ability to function effectively with a particular size is essential. So efficiency is a factor to consider when establishing a board size. Board structure, number 5. Board structure. Board structure. Now, if a company has a unitary board structure, that is where the executives and the non-executives serve together, the board size may differ from a 2-tier board structure where there is a separation between management and the supervisory board. So we may have a 1-tier board structure or a 2-tier board structure. So a 1-tier board structure, the executive directors and non-executive directors, they sit together. It's one board that comprises of executive directors and non-executive directors. But for a 2-tier board, this is where there are 2 boards: the management board and the supervisory board. The management board is concerned with the operations of the day-to-day operations of the organization, but the supervisory board supervises the operations of the management board. So if the company has a unitary board structure, that is where executives and non-executives serve together, the board size may be different from a two-tier board structure where there are separate boards, that is the management board and the supervisory board. So these are 5 factors a board may consider while establishing a board size. 1, company size and complexity. 2, industry norms. 3, diversity and skill requirement. 4, efficiency and decision making. Then lastly, board structure. Consider the board structure. 5 factors, 5 marks. 5 factors, 5 marks. So candidates, you've answered question number 2. That is August 2022 Boardroom Dynamics. In our next lesson, we'll answer question 3, which says, part A, identify 5 critical qualities of an effective board member, 5 marks. B, discuss 3 theories underpinning board dynamics, 6 marks. C, explain how board evaluation is conducted in state corporations, 4 marks. Attempt question 3 before coming in our next session, where we'll share knowledge, we'll answer or offer suggested solutions for question 3. Bye-bye.